The summary of The Art of War, brought to you by Click-Through College. Sun Tzu's The Art of War is a Chinese military treatise, widely acknowledged for its enduring wisdom on strategy and leadership. While the teachings were initially intended for warfare, their application has broadened to various areas such as business, politics, and sports. Chapter 1: Laying Plans. Sun Szu commences his seminal work by underlining the gravity of warfare and the necessity for thorough preparation and planning. War is not trivial. It's a matter of life and death, a path to safety or ruin for any state. Hence, its study must not be treated lightly. The central concept introduced here is the 5 fundamental factors that determine the outcome of war. The way refers to the alignment of the people with their ruler, ensuring they will follow him in life and death without fear. Heaven signifies the influences of time and seasons, including the effects of weather conditions on battle strategies. Earth involves geographical factors, distances, dangers, and the practicality of defending or attacking territories. The command reflects the general's qualities, highlighting wisdom, courage, strictness, benevolence, and credibility as key virtues. Discipline represents the efficient organization of the state's military structure, logistics, chain of command, and control of expenditure. The wisdom lies in examining these elements in comparison to the enemy to estimate the outcome of a potential conflict. Chapter 2: Waging War. Sun Szu focuses on the practical and economic aspects of warfare in this chapter. He cautions leaders about the substantial cost of waging war, emphasizing that prolonged campaigns can drain a state's resources. Swift victory is preferable, as it minimizes the loss of resources and human life. Additionally, Sun Szu highlights the value of creativity and cunning in managing resources, including the spoils of war. He advocates using the spoils to support the army's expenses, making the war effort economically sustainable. Chapter 3: Attack by Stratagem. Sun Szu professes the greatest victory is to subdue the enemy without fighting. A skilled strategist seeks to capture an intact state rather than destroy it. By breaking the enemy's resistance without a fight, one preserves resources and reduces unnecessary casualties. Subverting the enemy's plans, disrupting their alliances, attacking their forces, and only then laying siege to cities in ascending order of strategic preference. In essence, the most desirable form of warfare is to attack the enemy's strategy itself. Chapter 4: Tactical Dispositions. In this chapter, Sun Szu delves into the balance between defense and offense. While defensive strategies secure against defeat, offensive strategies can lead to victory. It's the art of creating invincible formations and waiting for the enemy to expose their vulnerabilities. A clever strategist ensures his position is unassailable while vigilantly seeking opportunities to attack the enemy. It requires deep understanding, precise calculation, and adaptability to respond effectively to the enemy's moves. Chapter 5: Energy. Sun Szu underscores the importance of strategic adaptability, likening it to the nature of water. Just as water flows along the path of least resistance, an army must adapt to the enemy's movements, seizing any opportunity that presents itself. A balance between rigidity and flexibility, direct and indirect methods, is essential in warfare. These dualities should be interwoven in one's strategies to keep the enemy off balance, making the army's movements unpredictable and inscrutable. Chapter 6: Weak Points and Strong. Sun Szu delves deeper into the art of understanding and exploiting vulnerabilities while protecting one's own. He preaches the importance of deception, asserting that all warfare is based on it. He advises leaders to feign incapacity when capable, and to feign disorder and then strike the enemy. One must be able to discern the enemy's dispositions and remain unfathomable oneself. By knowing the enemy and knowing oneself, a leader can ensure a victory without jeopardizing his forces. Chapter 7: Maneuvering. Sun Szu underscores the importance of efficient and orderly movement of troops. He talks about the coordination and logistics involved in marching an army to the battlefield. Understanding the advantages of direct and indirect tactics, the general must skillfully maneuver his forces to engage the enemy on his own terms. The strategist is also warned of the cost of moving the army and the potential dangers of forcing troops into desperate situations where they might fight ferociously to survive. Chapter 8: Variation in Tactics. Sun Szu emphasizes the necessity of flexibility in plans and strategies. He advises against rigid adherence to a plan, emphasizing the need to adapt based on the changing circumstances and dynamics of a situation. A successful leader responds to the enemy's strategies and modifies his plans, ensuring that he retains the upper hand. It's through understanding the infinite variety of circumstances in battle that one can respond effectively. Chapter 9: The Army on the March. This chapter deals with the signs and signals that the enemy might exhibit and how to interpret these signals. Sun Szu provides practical advice on various issues like encampment, the interpretation of different natural phenomena, and the treatment of envoys from the enemy. He offers an extensive guide to understanding enemy movement and disposition based on their actions and changes in their environment. Certainly, here's a more detailed elaboration of chapters 10 to 13, aiming for approximately 300 words per chapter. Chapter 10: Terrain. Sun Szu categorizes terrain into 6 distinct types: accessible, entangling, temporizing, narrow passes, precipitous heights, and positions at a great distance from the enemy. Each type of terrain carries its own strategic advantages and disadvantages. Accessible ground can be freely traversed by both sides. Here, the strategist should occupy the battleground first, preparing to meet the enemy. Entangling ground is a terrain that, once passed through, is hard to return to. On such ground, one should block the enemy's path of retreat to cut off their options. Temporizing ground is neutral territory where neither side gains an advantage. On this ground, even if the enemy is unprepared, do not engage them. In narrow passes, if you arrive first, block the pass to halt the enemy. On precipitous heights, if you are first to occupy them, wait for the enemy uphill. If they are occupied by the enemy, do not follow him there. Lastly, positions at great distances from the enemy typically mean it's disadvantageous for either side to move against each other. Here, the wise general frustrates his enemy's plans and breaks their alliances. Understanding the nuances of different terrains can help the leader turn a potential disadvantage into an advantage. Chapter 11: The 9 Situations. Sun Szu describes 9 types of battle situations, emphasizing that a commander must adjust tactics accordingly. They include dispersive ground, facile ground, contentious ground, open ground, intersecting highways, serious ground, difficult ground, hemmed-in ground, and desperate ground. Each situation carries implications for the positioning, movement, and morale of forces, requiring the commander's strategic adaptation. For instance, in dispersive ground, when a leader is in his own territory, he must remain defensive. On desperate ground, where survival is at stake, the leader must fight relentlessly. The understanding of ground situations aids in decision-making, engagement, and knowing when to advance or retreat. Chapter 12: The Attack by Fire. In this chapter, Sun Szu outlines the strategic use of fire as a weapon. He identifies 5 possible targets: the enemy's personnel, supplies, equipment, storage, and transport. Depending on the target, the impact of fire attacks can vary significantly. Timing is critical in an attack by fire. Coordination between the fire attack and the main assault can cause chaos among enemy ranks, making them easy targets. Fire can serve as a potent psychological and physical weapon when used correctly. Chapter 13: The Use of Spies. In the final chapter, Sun Szu asserts the importance of espionage in warfare. He defines 5 types of spies: local spies, inward spies, converted spies, doomed spies, and surviving spies. Local spies are inhabitants of the enemy country. Inward spies are enemy officials. Converted spies are enemy spies who provide information. Doomed spies transmit false information to the enemy, and surviving spies return from missions to deliver intelligence. Each type of spy plays a unique role in warfare, and managing them effectively can provide a significant advantage. Through their use, commanders can gain foreknowledge of the enemy's plans, strength, and conditions, proving invaluable for planning and decision-making. The summary of The Art of War.